right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the June 28th meeting of the Township Council. Ms. Marsh?
In accordance with the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice, which was filed in the office of the Township Clerk, posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building, published as a legal notice in the Suburban Trends newspaper, and distributed to all persons requesting notice in accordance with Township policy.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer and a moment of thanks for individuals serving our nation. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Providence, we ask that you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that every deliberation will result in actions which will promote the common good and general welfare for all the people of Pequannock Township. Amen.
Amen. Okay, will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Dreesy?
Present.
Mr. Hurd?
I am here.
Mr. Cole?
Here.
Mrs. Russell?
Here.
Mayor Florence Lynch?
Here. Okay, first on the agenda is a presentation. I'll ask for council to come up with me, right?
Yep.
And I'm going to ask Doc Shoup to step forward. Doc is a veteran.
Feels like I'm a Catholic church.
Here from the American Legion as well. You can come right up here.
Come on, you're on film.
So, on behalf of the residents of Pequannock and the town council, we'd like to present you with a proclamation. Just so everyone knows, Doc Shoup was our guest speaker at the American Legion ceremony and the parade that we had in town on Memorial Day. And he was kind enough to come in. Your words were very inspirational. We thank you for your service. We thank you for your continued selfless service to the veterans, because he continues his work to this day. And yeah, right.
But he does have his trust. He literally came right from work.
He came from work, and that's why he's wearing this. So we would like to present this to him and read some of your accomplishments here. Whereas Francisco Doc Shoup, which is Doc is because you were a medic, right, in the Army, and that's the nickname they gave him was Doc. Whereas Francisco Doc Shoup, a resident of Elmwood Park, New Jersey, served for 15 years as an Army medic, including one tour in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom, providing vital combat medical aid to U.S. Army Tactical Infantry Unity. And whereas Doc Shoup served in placements at Walter Reed Army Medical Center and with the National Guard. And whereas Doc Shoup attended King University, where he served as president of the Military Veterans Club and graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. And whereas Doc Shoup continues to provide service and support to his fellow veterans as the Director of Outreach Services for the New Jersey Veterans Network. And whereas on Memorial Day 2022, Doc Shoup generously accepted the invitation from the Township of Pequannock to honor our township's fallen and to speak meaningfully and from his heart on the significance of the holiday and the sacrifices necessary to keep our great country free. And now, therefore, on behalf of the residents of the Township of Pequannock in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, Mayor Melissa Florence Lynch and the Township Council do hereby express their gratitude to Doc Shoup for his participation in the Township's Memorial Day Remembrance Ceremony and wish him well in his service to our nation. So, words, feel free.
Just what a beautiful token. I mean, to see all you guys doing these great things and the positivity. And
You're doing great things.
Yeah.
We're not doing nothing. We're not doing much. You're doing great things.
You're doing great.
Well, you know what? I get to do great things because I have support from people like yourselves. because, you know, we can only do great things together. Absolutely.
Exactly.
So thank you so much.
you.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you for your service.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You want to do a couple pictures or you just do a video?
Gotta get some pictures.
Well, we can do pictures.
Gotta get the pictures.
Gotta get the pictures then. Okay.
Sure.
My dad.
I can go get my puppy if you want.
There you go.
That would be really-
Yeah, next time, make sure you bring them.
Yes, that was awesome, John. All right, there's one. And there's another. And there. Let me show you.
Oh, they look great.
Perfect.
Make sure he looks good. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, great. So, gas station.
The Army, and it's all right, I just always cry, you know? Because they treat you right.
All right?
Thank you. So you're going to go back to work and you're on till 11 o'clock? Wow.
That's a nice try, though.
Thank you.
A little summary, a little patriotic, a little.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for your service.
Got the flag on the back.
We'll be here.
Sounds good.
I'll make sure.
Go eat something now.
Yeah, go eat
Yeah,
something.
right?
Too bad it wasn't if you came last week, there was food trucks here. But
Little Food Inn is a great place, right around the corner.
Yeah, take them for some food. Thank you.
I will be around.
oh, that makes us happy. Thank you.
Look for a place here, trust me.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, next on the agenda is reports from volunteers. If there's anybody in the audience that has reports or comments from any of the volunteers serving our community. Anybody?
Frank?
No? Frank? Nobody? Okay. Next on the agenda is public comment. Public comment period will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. An additional period for public comment is reserved later in the meeting. Individuals are requested to limit their questions and comments to 3 minutes. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized and come to the microphone and provide your name and address for the record. I see Frank getting up and walking up.
A little slow.
That's
All right, take
okay.
your time.
We won't start the clock yet, okay?
I don't know whether I'm doing this ahead of time or not, but I wanted to talk about the ordinance that you're going to, or the grant that you're going to get for, the bonds that you're going to do for the wells 1 and 2. Shall I wait for your report, or can I ask questions about it now?
I think you can ask a question now, and then hopefully it'll be addressed later.
I read what you had there, and actually, it's going to be $4 million, over $4 million to do that. And it says in part of the writing here under G, you have one section there. This ordinance will fund the required improvement. As a result of this required expenditure, staff and professional have begun a study to determine what the rate increase will be necessary to support the added cost to the water utility. That's that section that says that. And yet, in section 6, it says, the improvement for this purpose is described in 3B, the bond ordinance, and it says, is an improvement for the purpose of the township may lawfully undertake the general improvement and not cost thereof has been or shall be specifically assessed on property specifically benefited thereby. I would assume that you're talking about our property. Is that correct?
It refers to any customer of the water utility.
Right. But yet, on the other one, you said that you might have a rate increase.
Correct.
So how do you figure that? If we're going to get over $4 million to do the project,
We're going to borrow.
it's going bonds, okay.
Yeah.
You're going to borrow that money. And sooner or later, we've got to pay back.
Correct.
So you're going to increase the rates so we can pay for the $4 million fund increase that we're going to do.
Correct.
We have to do this.
It is a
There's no
requirement.
other way to do this.
Not at all.
Increase
This is the least,
rates.
this is the least
The
expensive.
water bills are extravagant right now. You may not think so. I think so.
By comparison, they're not out of character with similar municipalities, but I can understand your
How much
frustration.
of the increase are we looking at?
We're gonna have to figure that out.
We don't know yet.
So we don't know.
No, but we know we have to do this, so that's the challenge.
It's gonna hurt.
Yeah. With that said, we're gonna go after any
Everything we
bucket
do
of money
here
we can.
hurts.
Right,
Yep.
No matter what it is.
This is not an elective, this is a have to.
yeah,
I mean, with the
unfortunately.
tank in up there, that increased our water, rates, you know? And I assume when you're gonna tear the old water tank down, you're gonna add a little more to that because you gotta tear the tank down, so we gotta have some money to do that too, unless you're gonna do that under capital improvement.
Hopefully, the rates will be such that the utility can afford it over time without.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Hopefully, the rates will be such that we can afford to remove the prior tank without increasing it, and the operations will be able to absorb the cost
So when will we know what the increase is?
when the rate study is done.
And time frame?
Fall,
Next year? Oh, fall?
early winter.
Okay.
I know, it's not great news, but have to do it. Okay, anyone else for public comment? Yes, Paul?
Good evening, Paul Mailer, 29 Arundel Road, President of Propel Pequannock Residents of Pride, Equity, and Leadership. The prayer that Councilman Cole recited tonight and is read at the beginning of every council meeting reads as part and follows, quote, "that so that every deliberation will result in actions that will promote the common good and the general welfare for all the people of Pequannock Township," end quote. So in celebration of that remarkably inclusive message, I'd like to read into the record the 2022 Pride Month proclamation. Whereas the Mayor and Council of Pequannock Township, New Jersey welcomes and encourages diversity and inclusion within our community, and whereas by protecting the rights of every individual, we enhance and strengthen the value of everyone throughout our entire society, and whereas celebrating Pride Month raises awareness and provides support and advocacy for the LGBTQ+ community and is an opportunity to become educated, engage in dialogue, strengthen alliances and build understanding, and whereas there has been remarkable progress towards acceptance and equality, members of the LGBTQ+ community continue to face discrimination and intolerance. And whereas we must commit to supporting and accepting LGBTQ+ individuals, in particular our youth, who compared to their peers are far more likely to experience violence and bullying at school. And whereas we affirm our support for LGBTQ+ residents in our community and stand with them to protect their civil rights and their ability to live openly, equally, and without fear. Now therefore be it proclaimed, Mayor Melissa Florence Lynch and members of the Council of Pequannock Township hereby recognize and support the month of June as Pride Month and urge all residents to celebrate and build a culture of inclusiveness and acceptance during this month and every month as a welcoming sign to all. Signed, Melissa Florence Lynch, Mayor, David G. Cole, Kyle Russell. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. All right, no one else is in the room, so there being no additional public comments, we will continue on with the agenda. All right, next on the agenda is manager's report. Mr. Brewer.
Thank you, Mayor. Several quick items. The first is within the council's packet this evening. There is an application for a Morris County Park Commission grant. This is the first time we've had a trails grant, to my knowledge, from the Township of Pequannock to the Morris County Park Commission. As was discussed at the last meeting, the Environmental Commission got a grant for Foothills Park. A lot of attention has been paid by the Public Works Department to Foothills Park to significantly improve it. They've removed a lot of the trees and improved the detention basins, established the beginning of a footpath. This grant application would provide for the first phase of what is hoped to be a 3 or 4 phase project to install a walking path along the waterway, for lack of a better description, toward Route 23 along West Parkway. The cash match, we believe we have cash on hand from a prior grant from the state of New Jersey, so the possibility exists that we could accomplish this improvement with the use of zero local tax dollars. Next item, the Hillview Road Guardrail Replacement Project. Over many years, we have discussed and sought support for the replacement of the guardrail on Hillview Road, which is what we call it in Pequannock Township, Beaverbrook Road in Lincoln Park. Some people here even just call it Beaverbrook Road. Just to be clear, that's the street. Some of it is in the borough of Lincoln Park, some of it is in the township of Pequannock. The township has secured $400,000 of grants for the project. The cost of the project exceeds that. It's going to be roughly $460,000 or more. The Borough of Lincoln Park has agreed to cover the additional cost beyond the grant amount. So generous partnership with Lincoln Park in terms of getting the project done. We also successfully paved it as a partnership with the borough. Next item, again with the Borough of Lincoln Park, we have for the council's consideration a a shared services agreement to continue the construction official and building subcode official services for a period of 4 years with appropriate 2% increases. And in the packet is a resolution of the Borough of Lincoln Park. They have already authorized the execution of the agreement. As was reported previously in closed session, the operations run well. The impact on the Township of Pequannock's operations haven't been negative. We haven't seen a loss of service. We will need to add additional staff to continue this moving, but there is more than adequate financial resources in the agreement to cover that cost and then some. And then the last item, as was previously discussed with Mr. Spazzeri, in order to address a decrease in the allowable MCLs for PFOA, PFOS, the township is in a position where we are required to install a treatment facility that will remove PFOS and PFOA from the potable water supply. Effective in January of 2022, for PFOS and PFOA, the acceptable MCL was dropped to 13 and 14 parts per trillion respectively. Once this went into play and we were testing, we did have to remove one of the wells from service. So in order to get everything back in moving, this is a required improvement that we will have to make. We are seeking federal dollars through appropriations. We are seeking state dollars through the I-Bank. We are looking to finance this through the I-Bank, which will allow us to save money and possibly have principal forgiveness if it's awarded a specific ranking. The staff, professionals, and I are all working very, very hard in that regard. So the maximum amount is the maximum amount. If we can reduce that with other dollars, we will do our darndest to get that done.
Thanks for your efforts on that.
It's a huge project, and you know, there is no pleasure in having to do it or the potential rate increase. Unless there's any questions, that concludes my...
Any questions?
Yeah, I actually have some questions on the timeline of that. So my fear is that we go out to bond like we did years ago and get money, and then we don't do this project. So we go out to bond, we start being charged interest right away, correct? Or when we take the money?
The way I anticipate this working is the total amount would not be borrowed.
Okay.
Only that which is necessary to be borrowed.
So we're approving up to $4 million?
You're approving up to $4.7 million, but one of the virtues of the CFO's role is to fund that which is necessary and not take out cash that isn't needed at the time of the project.
So
we're also going to be going through what's called the I-Bank, which is almost like a state improvement authority. So we won't have a similar dynamic as other projects you may be familiar with, where there's a lump sum of cash sitting there unproductive.
Right.
That will not happen.
Okay, good. My second question is, and then this goes out to bid?
So again, we're going to be going through the I-Bank, which creates an additional layer of compliance beyond just the local public contracts law. So we have to work with them. I wouldn't expect us to go out to bid until probably quarter 1, quarter 2 of 2023.
So, but we'd be raising the rates before that?
No, the rate analysis is underway.
Oh, so the rate analysis, but we're not going to raise the water rates till...
January of 2023 is what the target will be.
Okay, so then...
But the authorization is required because we need to start paying bond counsel, the financial analyst, the engineers, to do the design work to be ready to go out to bid.
Going through I-Bank, is that more expensive with the bidding process? The only reason I ask is, believe it or not, I have a friend who's an engineer, and this is what she does. I think Capola she works for.
Yeah, going through the iBank is a bureaucratic nightmare.
Okay.
I don't mind saying that publicly. I apologize, folks at the iBank. It's a huge amount of compliance that's required. It's really work on the staff's part and the professionals' part to make sure everything's good. The virtue of the iBank is 50% of the amount borrowed will be interest-free. Worst case scenario.
Okay.
And the balance will be at their rate. Previously, our note sales, we've seen net interest costs of 0.5%. As a result of the increase in the Fed rates, now we're seeing short-term debt of municipalities going 2% and 3%.
Right.
When you look at the volume or the magnitude of the amount we have to borrow, that comes out to hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Correct.
So if we have the ability to retain the portion that is charged interest to be low,
Right.
and the other 50% to be non-existent.
When interest goes up, funds go down.
Right, that's already a win.
Correct.
Then we have an opportunity for potential principal forgiveness, which would be a further win, and if we have the ability to get federal dollars, we start chipping away significantly at the amount we have to.
Obviously, you've done a lot of work on this. Thank you very much. I appreciate all your answers.
There've been
Looking at everything.
There've been a lot of meetings, and look, the iBank is a challenge because it's an additional layer.
Right, it's an additional level, but if
for
we
the
can get
benefit of
forgiveness.
hundreds of thousands of dollars to the ratepayers,
You have to do it.
the other thing that the iBank allows us to do is typically if we go out independent of them or another improvement authority, we can get a 20-year bond.
Right.
For the notes original.
Right.
We may be able to get 25 or as much as 30 years on
30-year bond.
which would significantly extend the lifetime to pay it back, which would decrease the
Decrease
impact
the
on the
amount we
rate
have to add
increase.
on to the utility for the rates.
So there's a lot of ingredients to try to get this, we've requested, as was previously reported, earmarks from the various federal legislators. Unfortunately, with a lot of, we are anticipating using some of our ARPA money for this to defray some of these
Yeah, I
costs.
think that's a great idea.
The federal legislation that provides for other funds, there are programs that provide for PFOA and PFOS remediation. They have to have less than 10,000 residents. There's a lot of things that we just haven't qualified for.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we're doing everything possible
Forward
to
to
borrow as
crunching
little
these
money.
numbers so we don't hit them over the head with this.
And just to clarify, we're not the only town that has to do this. There's a bunch of towns around us that have to do this.
That's correct.
Anybody who has a higher
And
cost.
and we
Right,
are.
What I'm saying, it's not only
It's not
us.
just us.
There's a lot of people that are going to be paying, yeah.
Mostly any town that has wells.
Wells.
There are a lot of, and I think it will become more pervasive because of the nature of the chemical, but I want to be judicious in our discussion because this is a matter of litigation.
Right.
The council did authorize
Right,
pursuit
that's
of the
still
responsible
ongoing.
parties. So that's another opportunity to potentially recover funds to defer these costs.
Is there any chance of, once we get it up and running, of taking less water from Newark?
Yes,
Okay, and that would save us money?
yes.
Would save our
wells
And
residents?
the ratepayers' money.
Okay.
It is more cost-effective to draw water from our aquifer
Right,
and
so
sell that our
we
rate
could go
and have
down to
wheel
maybe
it
a
for somebody else.
70-30, take less water
Correct.
from Newark and,
I was under the impression that our wells were not producing the amount of PSI that was required for us to deliver. That's
thought it was
one of
salinity.
the reasons why we,
It's not, so the PSI requirement is at the box, that's 19 PSI. The issue that not having all of the wells available, we do have the well available, we can turn it on, we've chosen not to voluntarily. It's something called firm capacity, which is a calculation that DEP uses that requires a certain amount above and beyond what the daily usage is, should you have an event like a fire or other incident where you need to draw.
so if all three wells are on, do we have that? Because I was under the impression we didn't.
We do.
that's a win. How,
We don't have a firm capacity violation issue. We would be under order if we did.
I thought that was one of the reasons that we did go to Newark, not only for the blending of the softness of the
It
water.
aided in the firm capacity, yes. But our ability to draw off of Newark is massive.
Now, but we have a contract with Newark that we have to use a certain amount
right,
of their water.
when is that contract up?
I believe that contract expired a year and a half ago.
It's expired.
Oh.
When it expired, we're not,
I don't know off the top of my
Off the top.
head. We've worked to negotiate a successor agreement, and
That's great. We
Haven't found
should
tremendous
kind of like
success.
leave that on the down low in case we want to take less.
Well, Newark has increased their rate, and as a result of their rate increase, we are reserving funds in each year's budget to account for that.
Yes, I
Because even though
remember
they
that.
haven't negotiated a new contract, we still are obligated to pay for that. So we don't
Correct.
wait 3 years and then go, oops, we don't have the money. But we are
But by the
reserving.
way, we don't need you anymore. Because we got a big Brita.
We need them. We need them.
And I know
Okay, so
You and I-
there is a little hope out there.
you and I have had the conversation
Keep an eye on
about
it.
the vegetation on Riverbrook Creek, but I don't know if any of the councils have driven down that street. The amount of vegetation that's hanging over into that stream is ridiculous. And we really need, Lincoln Park and us need to do something about it, so.
And those are discussions you've already had, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, Adam, thank you very much.
Yeah, good job. Anybody else? And thank you for, between the grant and the shared service
Oh, yeah,
agreement.
the shared service.
That is awesome.
That's great.
The staff is doing a fantastic job, so I will make sure they are aware of the good work.
Okay. Okay, moving along. Next on the agenda is public hearings. Public hearing on ordinance number 2022-12. Ms. Marsh?
Ordinance number 2022-12 is an ordinance establishing minimum and maximum salary and pay rates for designated officials and employees of the Township of Pequannock.
All right, any comments from council?
Nope.
Motion to open the
I'll
public
make that
hearing?
motion to open the public hearing.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, if anyone in the audience has questions or comments on this ordinance, please come to the microphone and identify yourself for the record. All right, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And is there a motion to adopt this ordinance, please?
I'll make an
Motion?
to adopt ordinance number 2022-12.
Second.
Roll call?
Smooth.
Mr. Dreesy?
Yes.
Mr. Hurd?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Mayor Florence Lynch?
Yes. All right, next on the agenda is introduction of ordinances. Ms. Marsh?
Ordinance number 2022-13 is a bond ordinance providing for the treatment of wells number 1 and number 2 and related improvements in and by the Township of Pequannock in the County of Morris, New Jersey, appropriating $4,750,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $4,750,000 in bonds or notes of the Township of Pequannock to finance the cost thereof.
All right, I'm assuming no further comments on that? We just covered it? Are there any comments? We already talked about it? No comments? Is there a motion to introduce this ordinance on first reading?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Dreesy?
Yes.
Mr. Hurd?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Mayor Florence Lynch?
Yes. And next on the agenda is resolutions. Ms. Marsh, if you wouldn't mind reading those. It's a mouthful.
Another long one here. Beginning with Resolution R 2022-134, approving the corrective action plan for the 2021 municipal audit. 135, canceling unexpended general capital appropriation balances. 136, authorizing the cancellation of the reserve for note payment. R 2022-137, amending the 2022 water capital budget to include ordinance number 2022-13. R 2022-138, authorizing the purchase and installation of new guardrail on Hillview Road from designated vendors awarded contracts by the Morris County Cooperative Pricing Council. 139, authorizing the execution of a shared services agreement between the Township of Pequannock and the Borough of Lincoln Park for construction official and building subcode official services from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2026. R 2022-140, providing for the insertion of a special item of revenue in the 2022 budget pursuant to NJSA 40A:487. That's for shared services with Lincoln Park. 2022-141, authorizing the appointment of John C. Gray Jr. as municipal public defender. 142, authorizing a Morris County trail construction grant application. 143, approving payment of the itemized claims as set forth on the June 23rd, 2022 bill list and 2018 FEMA elevation escrow list. And R 2022-144, approving the renewal of the designated alcohol beverage control licenses.
There must have been more. There was probably additional.
There was another additional. I was going to say.
All right, thank you. Are there any comments on the resolutions from council?
I have a comment on R 2022-142. That is a great use of funds, you know. It's a 5-to-1. We put 20% down, we get 80% from the government. That's a great way to bring money in and get benefit to our, you know, townspeople. I think it's phenomenal. I love that we're using that area of town. We're improving it, and I love when we're using somebody else's money. So, great job there, Adam. I wish we can do that for the Brita. That would be great.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Fingers crossed.
If I may, the Public Works Department really has invested huge efforts. If you haven't been to Foothills Park recently, go check it out.
It's great.
There's wildflowers that have been planted, there's bees, there's butterflies, it's a whole, you know, there are some trees that are left, and I asked why there were some trees left in the middle of the pond. If you look, there are holes in the trees, so they're habitat for animals.
That's
So
awesome.
that's why they didn't remove the ones with holes. It's really
guys.
it's really a neat thing, but it really, Frank Russo, Township Engineer, Dave Seiling, the Public Works Department deserve all of the credit.
We got a great
We
DPW.
really do.
That's all.
I'm sure you tell them.
Knock on wood, the water has stayed relatively
Yeah.
lower.
We're 18 inches down from the beginning of the season, so we'll see.
Good. All right, any other comments on the resolutions from council? No? Is there a motion to adopt these resolutions?
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution R 2022-134 through R 2022-144.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dreesy?
Yes.
Mr. Hurd?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Mayor Florence Lynch?
Yes. All right, and there's no items for discussion this evening, and there's no reports or notices, so we can go move on right to council reports and announcements. I'll start with Councilman DeRisi.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. A couple things. I didn't have any committees meet since the last meeting. One thing I want to say, just thank you to Adam. I know a couple things have come up with compliance issues with the state, and he seems to find those and fix those, so we don't get in trouble, which is very good. So thank you, and I guess Bob helps out with that too. So thanks. I know we talked about it a bit at the last meeting, so that.
Big team effort, I'll extend it, thank you.
Yes, okay. All right. So to Mr. Brewer and the team, how's that, right? Okay.
You're not me.
Fireworks looked really good from my back deck on Friday, so I think that was nice. A little early, but it was very nice. So thank you to the town and everybody that worked on that. I'd just like to say good luck to all the Little League All-Star teams out there. I know they started playing the other night. They seem to be doing good from what I understand, so hope they can keep that up. We talked briefly about grant applications and using other people's money for things, so I just want to say that again. It's always great to use other people's money for stuff to improve our town. It's also great to do shared services with other towns around us, so I think, whatever we can do to promote that, work with somebody else, help them out, they help us out. I think it's just great. High school PV graduation, the kids graduated. Wish them all the luck in the world, and the 5th grade kids moving up. I still remember my kids doing that clap out thing. That was always pretty cool. So congratulations to all of them. It's great to see the rail trail started work. You can see equipment over by behind the police station and over there by Quick Check, so people can see that. So that's always a good thing. And just thank you all for letting me sit here.
Great. Thank you very much, John. Councilman Hurd.
Thank you, Mayor. Speaking of other people's money, hey, John, could I borrow some money?
Sure, how much you need?
Ditto on a bunch of things that John said, actually. So we'll start with Hillview and the clap out. My son graduated 5th, going on to 6th, and it's really neat to see the clap out. We've done it before, my older guy, and you also see all the younger kids coming in. So it's amazing how small, like, the kindergarten and 1st grades are, and yet on the other hand, you got 5th grade going out. Same thing with PV, awesome over there, as well as the high school, so that's great. Scouts had a wonderful camp out. We do our end of the year barbecue, and we camp out over at Greenview Park. So we have a bunch of residents that come over and say, hey, what's going on with all the tents? And it's actually pretty cool. Again, part of what makes this town great, the ability to camp out there, the ability to use Foothills Park, the ability to have Washington Park, PV, I mean, all over the place. It really is great. It's amazing in 7 square miles and 15,500 people. the benefits that we have. So kudos to to everybody on that. Rail trail, I can't believe it's going to actually happen. With machinery there, they actually have an end date. So let's fingers crossed that that's going to happen. All-Stars, yes, they are kicking butts and taking names. I love it. 11U has won. They are on their second round tonight. Currently 0-0. We're fingers crossed that they win, so they go to sectionals next, which will be in Nutley. I heard they got great Italian over there, so I can't wait. And lastly, of course, I want to thank everybody. I do appreciate what everybody does. I also, I want to thank the U.S. Supreme Court. It's a rough job. All of these jobs are hard. Anything that happens, you don't always maybe agree with everything, but it's a big deal, and I want to thank the Supreme Court and for everything that they do. So I really do appreciate it. Other than that, that's all I got. Thank you.
Good job. Thanks, Ryan. Councilman Cole.
I just want to mention that I brought Assemblyman Brian Bergen to the AP Government class on June 15th. It seemed like the kids really enjoyed that.
That's
Got a lot of good answers from Brian and good questions from the high school students. So this is like my 5th or 6th year doing that. I brought Mr. Brewer there this year. Mr. Gannon, Sheriff Gannon went. Unfortunately, I was in Canada, so he had to go by himself. But the kids seem to love that. So I appreciate and thank all of the guys that went to speak to the kids. Best of luck to all our PV and PTHS graduates. Both ceremonies were very well attended and was a little wet, but you know what? I think the majority of the people would rather have it outside than to be inside. So.
And it keeps the dust down.
Yeah. Morris County Rail Trail, Adam, if you can, sort of like maybe give us an update in August, maybe just to see where they're, what their projections are. I mean, there's a lot of buzz in town about it, and I can't wait to see it, a finished product there, so really looking forward to that. And I know a lot of people, say the fireworks are too early, but you know what? I think that the fireworks the last 2 or 3 years have been tremendous.
Yeah.
There were a few years that we did move it a little closer to the 4th of July, but it's like, boom, and they're over. So, you know what? I'm in favor of keeping it where it is, as long as we can get a great deal and have great fireworks for the residents. I wasn't there. It was great.
But it was the best you've ever seen.
I had my sister's garage sale that day, and I was in bed at 8 o'clock. But the noise from my house, the finale was tremendous.
Yeah, they were awesome.
I wish I could have been there.
How was the turnout? Good?
It was packed.
It was good weather. It was a beautiful weekend. I think people were really excited. And I agree, it's unusual that they're a little earlier than some of the other cities.
I think that
gives
might
an
be-
opportunity for people to really
Right,
come out.
and I think that's why you had more people.
Yeah,
because when you
Lincoln
get
Park
fourth,
didn't
they're-
have them this year, so I think we had a,
And when you get closer to the 4th, they're going away, everybody.
This week, month.
But that's all I have, and, I look forward to that update in August,
Yeah, it's awesome.
Do we have any idea when their projection date is? I know that Ryan, you said there isn't.
The schedule is just under 2 years.
Yeah. That was
For construction, that's what the contract says. There are liquidated damages for the contractor, meaning if they run over schedule, they lose money. It's a huge contract.
Yes, it is.
Roughly $19 million. So, what I've been putting out there, what's on the website now is, about 2 years.
I originally thought they were going to start in Wayne and move their way down. It doesn't, it looks like there's more happening right in Pequannock than anywhere else. So.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm happy.
I know they just started it. They seem like they're moving.
Yeah, there's a lot of site work to do, so.
Good.
Ryan, to get
All right, so
steel up.
maybe not.
Steel prices are
Yeah.
getting it up.
Heavy prices. Woo!
Maybe not August, maybe October. Give us an
When
update.
something, I'll try to keep the council as well as keep the story on the website up to date of what's going on.
Hey, maybe we can have an opening 5K for it. We'll cut the ribbon and then we'll run.
3.1.
Sound good?
There you go.
Yeah, there and back.
Okay.
You get on that, Ryan.
I will.
All right, Councilwoman Russell.
Yes, you never forget me. Right. Ditto what everybody said. I'm not going to repeat everything. The fireworks were great. I sit by the JV field, the high school field there. So the ground show was great. Everything was great. I was gonna pop at John's house because I did drive by, but
We had a bunch.
yeah.
Could've stopped by.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but it was late. I had started a book before I went, and that's the worst thing for me to do because I can't wait to get home and read my book. I'm a geek, can't help it. Congrats to all the graduates, 5th, 8th high school. None of my committees met. Environmental meets on the 13th. Library meets on the 20th of July. PV Park looks great, getting lots of compliments on PV Park and how great it is, and obviously the weather has definitely held up. And I know you guys are tired of hearing this, but there's this thing called the Morris County Small Business Grant. If you haven't applied for it, I speak to people who may be watching this on TV, apply for it. There's still money left. I believe there's still $3 million, and they may put more money into it. So apply for it. Even if you don't think you're going to get it, there's a number you could call. You could ask for help if you're not sure. You could call me and I can help you. But it's worth it, whether you have a brick and mortar store or if you work out of your house, either is allowed to go get that. So please, we want all the money to go into the fund.
I actually gave your name and number to a couple people because I said she applied for it for her own business.
Yeah,
Call her.
yeah. It's, and I've helped a couple of other people through it, and it's very easy. It's all done online. So, and that's all I have.
Very good, thank you. A couple of things. Jennifer McCulloch, our flood resilience officer, had a nice flood workshop for the realtors in the area. It was, community, it's education, community outreach. It helps us towards our rating. So it was well attended, lots of questions, good information to keep the realtors abreast so they can be talking to their clients about the flood maps and flood insurance. So that was a good workshop that was right here in this room. Like everybody said, congratulations to PV graduates, high school graduates. Like was mentioned, it was a little wet, but it wasn't bad. So I think having it outside, everybody was happy. It would have been so hard to push it inside and be cramped in there. So congratulations to all the graduates, and I hope you have a safe and happy summer. The fireworks, yes, great feedback on the fireworks. So I know for the last couple of years they've been really good. So I'm glad. I like the time, and I like the having it early. I think that brings more people out because everybody goes away 4th of July. What else? Like everyone said, happy about the rail trail. Looks like they're really moving along. And congratulations to Little League. And the only other thing I wanted to bring up was, I believe the library is having a lawn concert for their 25th. Do you know anything about that?
Who's playing?
I thought it was already.
Was it?
I could be wrong. I thought it was Friday night with the fireworks.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yes, the Guthrie. I don't know. I saw a sign and I thought maybe it was switched.
I thought that was Friends of Library Friday.
Because wasn't there a proclamation
Oh,
you
same
were working
thing.
on,
Yeah.
Carol, for that?
Yeah, I didn't
That
think it
didn't
was.
happen yet, did it?
No, I don't. If it did, we missed it. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we did. We missed it. Let me look right here. That would be terrible.
I'll find out.
Yeah, please do, because I'm looking through my emails right now. No, it's, here it is, July 15th. Friends of the Library are sponsoring a lawn concert on July 15th to
Right.
celebrate the
That's what I said
library's...
to Dave. He's like, no, it was last week.
Yeah, so that's the one, and we're going to honor them there. So if everybody can mark their calendars, if you're around, if you're available.
Last
Who are
Friday.
we honoring?
The library.
The library for 25 years.
Okay.
Yep,
It's July
July 15th.
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 Okay, so that's
And
all.
the concert itself is only about an hour, hour and a half.
Okay.
7:15.
Yes, hold on.
Yeah, I don't have the time on here, but if people are available, we should try to go there. Okay. Other than that, that's all I have. Okay.
If I'm able to walk after my surgery, I'll do that.
Oh, that's right, you have your surgery. All right, next on the agenda is public comment, if anyone wishes to address the council. Okay, we have two people. Paul, you can come up first. All right, Frank, you guys flip a coin?
For the record, my name is Frank Spazzieri at 35 West Franklin Avenue. I didn't give it to you before. Anyway, go back to this bond ordinance thing. And I'm talking about the state. The state does this once in a while. They'll come and say, oh, your wells are no good, you gotta fix this, so you gotta fix that, you gotta fix the other thing. Have we investigated, besides what you have here that you're gonna do with this bond issue, lead qualities, any other of the other things that may be detrimental to our health? And I'm just saying this because if we're going to do it now, why don't we fix what might happen in the future if the state comes out and says, you got to reduce the lead level in your thing? And I'm just using lead as an example.
That's a heck of a four-letter word. There are no issues that need to be addressed presently other than the remediation of PFOS and PFOA.
Okay, so there's, other than this PFOS and PFOA are the only two things
that need to be remediated.
The worst in our water.
Well, they're
not, wells.
There is no exceedance of the MCL as was established, but we had to take a well offline to ensure that didn't occur.
Okay, yeah, I understand that. I'm just trying to think ahead, say, let's look ahead and say, well, do we have anything else that we might want to recondition now, rather than another year from now or 2 years from now, we do another $4 million to do something else? Just my thought.
Unfortunately, the government,
They change the threshold, we have to comply.
Yeah, I understand that.
With respect to the maintenance and management of a water system, yeah, we're going to have to put pipe in the...
But maybe we can beat them at their own game. You know what I'm saying?
If there was a way, I would happily engage in it, but yeah, unfortunately, with respect to the maintenance and management of a water system, there will be capital expenses.
I asked the question when this came out, Frank, was what was our levels 5 years ago? And, our water experts said, we never tested that before. It wasn't a required test that we had to test.
Right.
All of a sudden, they say, okay, you got to test for this, and here's the levels. Oh, you're over.
They come up with something else that we have no idea.
That's exactly my point.
It's a good thought, but...
Let's test for everything that we can now, while we're doing $4,700,000, and fix it.
I appreciate the line of thinking.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
Paul?
Again, Paul Mailer, 29 Arundel Road. I just want to remind the council that when you sit on that dais, you speak for the township, and you speak to everyone, every resident in the township, and it's your responsibility to speak as such and to keep your private thoughts or your private opinions to yourself or when you're off that dais. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, nothing more for public comment. There are no minutes presented for approval this evening. We'll probably have some next time. And there's no items listed for closed session discussion, correct? So there being no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to close.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned at 7:40.
On the back of the room.